Hey everyone, Sean Q here with the amazing Ebony Byrne. I am so excited because we have had several conversations over the last couple of months, and I am just so inspired by all of the great work that she has been doing. And I'm just so excited to give her an opportunity to share a little bit about how she supports people. So, Ebony, why don't you kind of give us an idea of what you do and why you love it?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I am a certified financial educator and money coach, and I help women build their financial legacy after divorce. I got into this work because I went through a pretty gnarly divorce myself. And I had to extricate myself from a emotionally and financially abusive marriage. Having to rebuild that life over the last 6 years, and I found that there were so many other women who needed to hear that yes, they can recover and they
Mm,
can make good decisions with their money. And that was something that I found was missing when I was going through my divorce. So I said, I might as well create what I wish I'd had. And so that is what I did.
yeah, I love that. Just kind of speaking from like a very authentic, honest place, how you were able to uncover all of the challenging things that you were facing, and then have this mission to support people who are in that same place. What would you say to the woman or the gentleman who's listening, who's going through that same experience and feels kind of like hopeless, like this is the end, or this like where is the light at the end of the tunnel?
Ooh, that's a good question. One of the things that I would tell someone definitely going through that is you can do hard things. I
Mm,
think that was a hard part for me to understand and accept, especially coming from an environment where I had someone who was consistently making me doubt myself and making me think that I couldn't make it without him, right? So having the courage to even leave or to, and that is huge.
mm,
So that I was like, you know what, if I can do this, it's just follow one more day, just keep doing, keep growing. You can do this, and just keep learning. That's
mm.
the best thing I can tell anyone.
Yeah, that's so good. You can do hard things. Somebody put that in the chat. That is just so good. You can do hard things. And Bobby's actually with us. He says, Ebony, love bringing you two together. I think he's the one who introduced us to, which is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
So thanks, Bobby. That's pretty awesome. So you obviously worked through like the financial aspect, and finances for a lot of people are really like scary. It's
Yeah.
like, like I don't know, and for a lot of people they rely on their partner to deal with all the finances, and they never have to think about it, or never have to worry about it, or they just don't have that conversation.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that people can take back control over their money and the relationship they have to money?
Oh, good question. Really, the best way is to look at it head on. One of the things that keeps us from thriving is secrecy.
Mm,
And so if you have no idea what your numbers are, then it feels overwhelming and it feels like you can never do this, but you can if you know what you're dealing with. And that's the hardest part for most people, is actually opening the books, looking at the payments, looking at what's due, and actually saying, okay, this is it. Once you know the numbers, the rest is easy, believe it or
yeah.
not.
Yeah, so good. And would you agree that there's just so much shame associated with like finances, financial decisions, poor finances, not knowing your numbers? How like so like taking it on head on. I remember at one point I was very scared of like the IRS and taxes, and like especially starting a business, like kind of really afraid of that stuff. And I remember making a decision. You know what? I'm gonna feel so confident with this. I don't now, but I eventually will feel so confident with it. In that moment, it was scary. In that moment, there was a lot of insecurity. But at
Right.
one point, I'm going to feel so confident with it. I'm going to welcome them to come in and ask questions, because I'm going to have such a strong relationship to this. And now I feel like we're at that place, which is really awesome. But I remember how scary it was. It was a bring it on kind of attitude, though, what you just described as like, I'm going to deal with this head on. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to figure out these numbers, and I'm going to become confident with it. I'm not now, but I will eventually.
Yes.
Um, so good. What would you say is some of the major mistakes people make when it comes to their money and their finances?
Mhm. The first mistake is avoiding it, right? Like we discussed. But then the second mistake really, I think, is the mindset piece. So one of the things that I usually I tell my clients, and I tell anyone who listen, is that personal finance is really 80% mental. The 20% is the math. And so the biggest mistakes that we make with our money really come down to our own thoughts and our own energy and how we deal with our finances. And so you touched on it earlier, is that shame piece. And I find, especially when you've gone through a divorce, there's so much shame around the dissolution of this marriage, all of the things that happened that got you there, who's to blame, and all of that. And so you add that shame, and then you add money, which has its whole, like a whole nother realm of ideology and thoughts and energy around it. And you put those two things together, and that is usually what keeps people stuck, is they're afraid and then they're ashamed. They're ashamed
Mm.
that maybe their money's not where it used to be. They're ashamed that they made mistakes. They're ashamed that they didn't see whatever they or their partner did or whatever. All of that translates into how we manage our money, but most people don't talk about that part. And then they just assume they're bad at it. No, you just don't have the tools based on who
Mm.
you are as a person to deal with the situations as they come up. That's the difference.
That is so good, Ebony. That's like amazing, because that's like a hashtag gold nugget. Somebody put that in the comments. Hashtag gold nugget is you assume you're bad at it when you just don't have the right tools to actually do it. It's not that
Mhm.
you're bad at it. It's just you don't have the tools. And if you had the tools, you'd be amazing at it. What
Exactly.
are some of those tools that people can acquire or that you work with your clients on to really be able to develop that confidence around their money?
Sure. The first thing that I usually work with my clients when we work directly together is the mindset piece. And it's funny, interesting, because one of the things people usually say, "Well, I don't need to do this part. I'm fine here." But once we start kind of digging in, and by the fifth question, maybe they're crying because they're like, "I didn't realize this was a thing." It's not my goal to make people cry, but once we start really looking at um, our parents and our childhood and our relationships with our partners in the past with money, when we really start looking at that, that's one of the biggest things that we do. And then after that, we will start looking at the numbers. What do you owe? Who do you owe? What's due? How much money do you have? A lot of times you'll find people have a lot more money than they think they do. They just aren't tracking it. They don't know where it's going. It just goes in and out. They have no idea. So getting the systems in place so that it makes it seamless for them to track based on their personalities. Everybody doesn't like spreadsheets, and some people want to automate everything. So figuring out what works for them and then giving them the encouragement to stick with it. All of that together is what gets people motivated to actually do the work.
Yeah, so good. And so I'm curious to hear a little bit about, um, as people are doing the work and as people are getting confident with money, what is like one simple thing people can do like today to like see
Mhm.
some type of progress?
Oh, so one of the things that I like to have people do, it's like a quick win, right? Is if you look at your subscriptions, and I know we hear about it all the time, right? Look at all your subscriptions, but seriously sit down and look at your subscriptions. And one of the things you'll find is it is a little harder to find out exactly what you're subscribed to than you think it is. So
Hmm.
if you subscribe to things, for example, I don't have cable, but I have Amazon Prime, and you can subscribe to all kinds of channels through Amazon. One of the things that's interesting is if you subscribe to something directly through Amazon, it's different than if you subscribe directly through the company, even though you're accessing it from the same place.
Huh.
So if I go into Amazon Prime and I want to get into, now it's Paramount, right? But it was CBS. But I've tried to go in there, and I was trying to get in when they did their big name change, and I couldn't get in. And I reached out to Amazon and I said, "Hey, I can't log in, and you guys are taking my money. So I want to be able to get in here." And he's like, "Oh no, you actually subscribe directly through them. So you have to log in there. And so you have to click on a different link to access it." It's that kind of stuff, that those are
Hmm.
tiny little, I call them budget vampires. They just suck money out of your account every month, and you don't know where it is. And every month you say, I'm gonna cancel that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take that out of there. So the
Yeah.
best thing you can do is look at all of your subscriptions, see what they are. Are you really using it? Not maybe you want to, but are you really using it? And if not, then cancel it. If
Yeah.
you find you really miss it, you can always get it back, but try it for 30 days and you'll be surprised that you actually aren't using it and you'll get that money back. I saved personally, right? I'm the money lady, and I saved myself like $150 in January looking at stuff because it was just random things that I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about. Some things were annual, some things were monthly, and they were small. And so I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it all accumulates. Like it's a really so I'll be so I'm going to share two stories. One, so we have Hulu. We love Hulu, and
Hmm.
my wife had a Hulu account, and I had a separate Hulu account that I didn't
Ah,
realize I had. So we had spent about $200 over the past like year and a half on an
hmm.
account we never even used because we thought there were like just one account as opposed to like the duplicates. And so we finally canceled it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like $200 that could have went somewhere else.
Hmm.
The other thing was I was subscribed to Microsoft Suite or whatever, like Word and like whatever. And they ended up offering that stuff for free, but because I still had a subscription, they were still charging me for it. And
Oh yeah.
so it was like $11 for every month for like 7 months. That's like almost $70. That's more than $70,
Yeah.
$77. So it's like all of these things begin to add up. And one of the like, here's a quick win for everyone is for the on the business side. One of the things we started implementing was I now print out our bank statements, and I literally not sign, but put my
Highlight.
initials. I initial everything that I'm going to continue doing, and then I highlight everything I need to cancel. And that
Nice.
way, I'm endorsing it every month. I'm making a conscious decision if I'm going to keep this or I'm not going to keep it. And that has helped save us money as well. So you got to know your numbers. Ebony, thank you so much for just sharing that quick win and like get your subscriptions under wraps, under control. What are you working on now with clients? Like, what if people are like, oh my gosh, Ebony, I need to figure out my money stuff. What are you working on right now?
Right now, I am launching a course. So I have two things I'm kind of doing, right? So the big thing that I'm doing right now is I'm launching a course at the end of this month. So the 24th of May is the official like opening of the doors. We're in the pre-sale area right now. So I'm super excited about that. And so in this course, it is self-paced. And one of the things that I'm doing in this course, it's a five module course. So you can get in there and you can learn budgeting basics, but you also get the mindset piece, which I think a lot of times people skip over. So we're going to do some mindset work. We're going to do some budgeting basics, learning what your numbers are, telling your money what to do and where to go. So basically, that's the budget because no one wants to hear the B word, right? And then teaching people how to prioritize their debt so they can create a debt repayment plan, and then prioritizing savings. So those are kind of like the main highlights of what we'll be doing in the course. And then there's some good bonuses that I'm offering for this launch of this new course as well. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I love it. So I just put the link in the comments right now for you to click. You can get all the information we're going to get in right now. And so that's the link, but you can easily click it. So get in right now, click on that link. You're going to get all the information and you're going to be able to see all the really great stuff that she's offering. And so make sure you click on get in right now, click on that link, and you're going to be able to join us. Is going to be pretty awesome. Or join Ebony, which is going to be pretty awesome. So get in right now. Okay, so Ebony, how can people get in touch with you? How can people like get to know more information about you? Obviously, click on that link, but any other way that you'd like them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you people can reach me on my website, which is Liberty Financials. So my business is Liberty Financial Services. I don't think I even mentioned that earlier, but my website is libertyfinancialllc.com. So that is my website. I have a blog where I post fabulous information. I mean, I think it's fabulous, right? Really good information that people can use to just kind of implement right now a lot of things and just learn some things that you might need to know about your finances and how to manage them. And then they can also reach me there. I do have other digital products there as well, but if they have any questions, they can reach me right on that website. I'm on social media as well. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Love it there. So I post things daily on there as well.
Super cool. So go ahead, click on that link, get in right now. It's going to be pretty awesome. Ebony, thank you so much for connecting with us. Any last words of encouragement?
Really, just my main words of encouragement to everyone is that, financial struggles don't have to define you. They really don't.
Mm.
Like, everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. I think I've probably had every issue there is to have over the course of my life. And you can have the things you want if you budget for them. You just have to budget for it. So figure out what you want, create a plan, and you can do it.
So good. Ebony, you're amazing. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm Sean Q, your head ticket sales coach. Click on that link. Get in right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.